Developing now, new details are emerging about the FBI raid on homes owned by rapper P. Diddy.
Is that a doll?
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs, and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment.
Get a fucking girl, get a drink and some rock, don't drink none of that other bullshit, mother.
I hope y'all are sitting down because the tea that's been spilled about Diddy will leave you shook. The FBI just searched his house, and what they found is unbelievable. They discovered that Diddy's been throwing wild parties called freak-offs at his place. But what exactly did they uncover that has everyone talking, and how has he managed to keep this hidden all these years? Let's get right to it. If you thought Diddy's parties were wild before, wait until you hear about the freak-off supplies he allegedly had stashed in his mansions. We're talking enough baby oil and lubricant to make a slip and slide, guns that shouldn't even exist, and the craziest part? Tapes that he allegedly used to blackmail people. Girl, buckle up, because we're about to dive into every scandalous detail of what the FBI found that finally led to Diddy's downfall.
As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-off.
You might be wondering, how did we get here? How did one of the biggest music moguls in the world end up in the middle of a federal investigation that has everybody talking? Well, it all started with some allegations that Diddy was hosting these freaky, drug-fueled parties, but nobody expected it to blow up like this. When the FBI raided his homes in Miami and Los Angeles, they found things that will make your skin crawl. So what exactly did the FBI find, and how is Diddy going to explain his way out of this one? Let's break it all down. Let's rewind for a second. Diddy's been living the high life for decades, throwing legendary parties and being one of the biggest names in music. But behind the glitz and glam, there were whispers about some freaky stuff going on behind closed doors.
Right. Just, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
According to multiple sources, Diddy has been holding these freak-off parties wild, multi-day orgies where anything goes. And, honey, it wasn't just fun and games. These parties allegedly involved drugs, coercion, and some seriously shady behavior.
At this point, everyone knows Diddy's done. This isn't about Diddy. This is about anybody and everybody that went to that house or the other one, LA or Miami, that did anything after having 3, 4, 5 drinks, and you went to a room and you don't know what happened, you don't know what's recorded. Those guys who went to those parties, they're all calling each other.
Now, we all thought those rumors about Diddy's freaky parties were just gossip until the FBI got involved. They raided his homes back in March 2024, and what they found was even worse than the rumors. According to court documents, federal agents discovered over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Yes, you heard that right, 1,000 bottles. I don't even want to know what all that was for, but it definitely raises some eyebrows. But that's not all. The FBI also found illegal guns, 3 AR-15s to be exact with the serial numbers removed, and a stash of drugs. And to make matters worse, they also found tapes that Diddy allegedly used to blackmail people who participated in these freak-offs.
The Bashir conversation for me is not easy. They're trying to slut him out so he'll feel too embarrassed to file his lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
So, what was all that baby oil and lubricant doing at Diddy's house? Well, according to the indictment, Diddy had an entire staff dedicated to organizing these freak-offs, which included securing supplies like extra linens, drugs, and all that baby oil for his parties. These weren't just any old parties either. They were multi-day events where the guests would get so messed up on drugs that they had to be given IV fluids to recover. Yes, you heard that right. Diddy allegedly had medical staff on hand to make sure everyone could party for days.
I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen these videos that are just surfacing from Diddy. This is Diddy of him at a party and what he does to his guests at his parties. Check this one out. Look what he does. Look at him, Adam. It's just during the sun. The sun is out.
Ladies and gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party. This is what happens
the white man.
to the white man.
Look, that guy is just...
It's so unfortunate. You gotta
look,
pull back, though, so they can see.
Like, you're proud of that?
That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look. What you get a drink at his head. And that's.
But here's where it gets really dark. The FBI alleges that Diddy used these parties as a way to blackmail people. He reportedly made secret tapes of what went down and used them to control his guests, allegedly forcing them to stay quiet about what really happened. That's where the racketeering charges come in. According to the indictment, Diddy used his entire business empire to fund these parties and keep the operation going. There's more. It wasn't just about drugs and baby oil. According to insiders, these freak-off parties weren't for the faint-hearted. Some guests allegedly had no idea what they were signing up for and were shocked by how extreme things got. We're talking about multi-day orgies where anything went, and there were always fresh supplies for those who were too messed up to keep going. IV drips, drugs, and endless amounts of baby oil were always on hand to make sure everyone stayed in the game. And apparently, Diddy was at the center of it all, making sure things stayed under control at least until the FBI showed up.
Yesterday, I had smoked something that Puff had gave me, and it was like it was as if I had partied like 3 nights straight. It was like, it was the craziest.
And here's where things take a wild turn. It wasn't just party supplies and tapes that the FBI found. Diddy also allegedly used violence and intimidation to control the people at his parties. The feds believe that he used those AR-15s to scare people into staying quiet, and there are even reports of him threatening his employees and guests with violence if they didn't do what he wanted. Girl, this is giving mafia vibes. And I don't know if Diddy's going to be able to talk his way out of this one. Let's talk about the guns for a second because, honey, this isn't just a case of having a few illegal firearms. The feds found 3 AR-15s with the serial numbers scratched off, which is a major red flag. And those weren't the only weapons. They also seized a drum magazine, which is a high-capacity ammunition clip typically used in military-grade firearms. So, not only was Diddy allegedly running wild sex parties, but he was also armed to the teeth while doing it. Talk about a disaster waiting to happen. Now, here's something not everyone is talking about. While the baby oil and the drugs are shocking enough, what's really catching people's attention are the secret tapes. According to the indictment, Diddy allegedly had hidden cameras set up all over his homes, recording what went down during these freak-offs. Some of these tapes are reportedly so explicit that authorities are treating them as evidence of sex trafficking and coercion. These tapes allegedly show some big names in the industry getting involved in these parties, which means this case could blow up even more. If Diddy used these tapes for blackmail, as the FBI suspects, we could be looking at one of the biggest scandals in Hollywood history. Social media, of course, is going crazy over this. People can't believe what the FBI found, and the baby oil bottles have basically turned into a meme at this point. One user tweeted, 1,000 bottles of baby oil? Diddy's house must have looked like a Costco for freaks. Another said, so Diddy was out here running a freaky spa day for his guests? What's next? A candlelit dinner with IV drips. The reactions are hilarious, but underneath all the jokes, people are genuinely shocked at how deep this goes. But here's something not a lot of people are focusing on: the charges of sex trafficking. According to prosecutors, Diddy allegedly coerced women into participating in these parties through manipulation, drugs, and even threats of violence. Some of the women reportedly tried to leave, but Diddy used his power and influence to keep them trapped. If these charges stick, Diddy could be facing years behind bars, not to mention the damage to his legacy. So, what's next for Diddy? Well, honey, things aren't looking good. The feds have a ton of evidence, and between the tapes, the guns, and the drugs, it's hard to see how Diddy could possibly talk his way out of this. His legal team is probably working overtime right now, but with these charges, racketeering, sex trafficking, and more, he could be facing some serious jail time. And let's not forget, if those tapes get leaked, it's not just Diddy who's going down. There could be a lot of big names caught up in this mess. Honestly, this is one of the wildest stories we've seen in a long time. People thought Diddy was just a party guy, but this is a whole new level of drama. One fan commented, I can't believe Diddy's been living a double life like this. This is some Wolf of Wall Street meets Eyes Wide Shut craziness. And another said, if Diddy goes down, Hollywood is about to implode. Woo, y'all, things are getting real. What do y'all think? Is Diddy guilty of running these freaky, dangerous parties? Or do you think he's being set up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more tea. And while you're here, check out our latest video on the wildest celebrity arrests of 2024. You won't believe who's next in line for the handcuffs.